Board Workshop. The workshop's being videotaped, so you will be on camera. I just want everyone to realize that. We have a quorum present. We're missing one board member, Herman. He's on vacation, I think, for 2 to 3 weeks. I think he's going to be back for the next board session, but he will not be here today. So with the quorum here, I'm going to call this meeting to order. The first item on the agenda is the revised Pro Solutions Agreement. Cassie, you want to explain what Pro Solutions Agreement is?
No, that's not the executive.
Oh.
You can give them an update.
You're right. Well, I'll give you an update, right. You want to tell them what the Pro Solutions Agreement is?
Okay, take it away.
Pro Solutions is our collection agency, basically. And so there was a question of whether we would want to leave them or go to another company, because they had changed their fee structure to some extent and basically said that all the other companies changing their fee structures as well. And primarily the issue was that, before we did not pay for any collections, for any outstanding items that were never collected. Neither party paid for that or received any money for it. And so now the revised issue is, and maybe that will change a little bit too. You told me there were maybe something forthcoming. But if we couldn't collect something, then we would have to pay the collection agency their fee anyway. So we reviewed, we had some other company, and I forget the name. We were looking at those documents, and it's, you're trying to compare apples to apples, but that's really not possible in this case. And so I think we had started that here at one of these meetings, that whole issue, and I couldn't see really clearly what was going on, so we had postponed it. And then I did some review, and yes, there were some differences in cost, but the other company that we were reviewing had also many other charges, and it's difficult to determine whether they would ever have to be paid or not. And we don't have that many collections, basically. We don't have that many bad debts. And so the decision is that we would stay with who we know. And I think, didn't you say that maybe some changes are forthcoming in the way they
Their
work?
fees are going to be reduced slightly.
Oh, okay. And actually, the other company was doing the exact same thing as Pro Solutions, and that is that we would have to pay if the account could not be collected. So that's where we are.
Okay, so a decision was made by the board in executive session to basically approve the Pro Solutions contract, and I will be signing that contract. So the workshop today is dealing with the Oakmont Health Initiative and the OVA Fitness Director. Let's see if I can summarize it for people in the audience who may not be aware of what we're talking about. At the last board meeting, the Oakmont Fitness Club came before the board and made a request that the OVA take over the funding of the cost of their fitness trainer. The fitness trainer has, I think, been with the fitness club for many, many years. I think at least 7 since I've been here. And up until this time, they managed to fund his cost by having voluntary contributions from people who use the fitness center. And that seemed to have worked for many years, but apparently fewer and fewer people are willing to contribute voluntarily, and they've gotten to the point where they're not able to raise sufficient funds to continue on that basis. I think I may have my figures slightly off here, but I think the total yearly cost for John at the fitness center is approximately $14,000. And they were able, over the past years, to raise that kind of money to pay him. He does not work as a fitness trainer full-time at the fitness center. He he has certain hours that he comes in, and he, at that time, can look at the equipment, see if it's functioning properly. He can answer questions of people who are there. If someone needs to know how to use equipment, he can show them how to use equipment, things of that nature. So that's the way it's been going. At the last board meeting, it was reported that the fitness club had $300 in their account and would not be able to make his payroll. And would we be willing to, at that point, take over the funding? We asked, well, first of all, we, at that time, as a stopgap measure, agreed and voted to give the fitness club $1,000 to do what they wished with. If they wanted to cover the payroll for that period of time, they could. But we begged off making a final decision until we had an opportunity to think about it, because certain issues occurred to some of the board members. If we did this, would we take over the whole job of paying the $14,000 per year? Would John be an independent contractor, or would he be an employee of OVA? What are the repercussions of having him as an employee as opposed to an independent contractor? And we just needed time to think things out and to get information. So that's generally where we are. In the meantime, I got an email, a very nice email from Tom Woodrum of the Health Initiative. For those who don't know what the Health Initiative is, basically it's a really nice aerobics group, morning group, meets 3 times a week in the mornings at 9 o'clock at the Burger Center. They've had phenomenal success with attendance at those meetings. What they've done is they've been able to offer the classes free. Tom and Teresa have volunteered their own time to get this started and to basically manage it and to keep it going. To fund it, rather than asking their members to pay money up front, like $5 or $10 per class, to pay for the instructors, which they obtain from such places as, I think, Sonoma State, not Sonoma State, at Santa Rosa Junior College, and YMCA. To fund it, rather than asking that the individual members, pay up front when they come to the class, like $5 or $10 per class, Tom and Teresa have been very instrumental in organizing fundraisers where people can buy tickets and see a very nice concert, and a portion of the proceeds would then go to pay for these instructors. Obviously, this involves a lot of volunteer time and effort by both Tom and Teresa, for which we're very appreciative. We're very thankful for you doing this. As all things happen, though, I mean, you volunteer so much, and you get, it's a lot of work. And Tom and Teresa, well, Tom wrote the letter and saying, well, if you're going to take over the job of paying for a fitness trainer at the fitness center and pay him $14,000, well, our costs are like $6,000 a year. We would like also to put an outstretched hand to us, to the board, and ask that the board assume the obligations of paying and I guess running, you might say, the health initiative. So that's, I think, where we stand. So our board now has to decide what we're going to do here under the circumstances. So I'm going to open it up for discussion. Well, first of all, the two parties involved, the fitness club and Tom and Teresa of the Health Initiative, want to give a short statement before I proceed, or have I accurately summarized the issues here?
Just a point of clarification, Frank.
Okay, are you picking this up on the...
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Yes.
The reason that the fitness club was able to cover the trainer's remuneration in past years, but ran short this year, was that we increased his hourly rate from $25 to $30 an hour, and those extra hours we weren't able to make it. So we average about 600 members a year, times 25, and we're talking about $12,000. And it's the difference that took us by surprise this year.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Okay, so I'm going to open it up for board discussion. Who would like to go first? Bob?
I don't want to, myself, I'd like to discuss this one issue at a time because I think they are separate issues. The fitness center and OHI, they both have certain characteristics which I think will not lead to clarity of discussion or decisions or suggestions if we conflate the two. Regarding the fitness center, pardon me, I believe we, as a community, not especially the OVA, but as a community, have to figure out a way to keep John in his job, or John's successor, or whomever at any time, because of the items enumerated in Richard Duncan's letter to the board that are meaningful to the community. And you may not be injured now, or you may not be sick now, or you may be just wanting to get in better shape, but at a future time, that fitness center is going to be extremely valuable to most of us here. So that's the position I come from in this discussion, that I don't want to conflate those two issues, and I want to see the community come to some sort of decision. And I'll put down the mic in just a second, but I really appreciate much of the way Oakmont is run today. And that is to say, the concert series, Music at Oakmont, is run by some fine volunteers who have had a great succession from Bob Hayden to Rosemary Waller. They haven't missed a beat, haven't missed a concert, they're physically strong, and they put on tremendous, as Tom and Teresa have, donation drives, fund drives, to make sure they stay in business without OVA help. And they run their business, so to speak, and do it very, very well. I think the fitness club has run its shop very, very well. They have officers, they have members, and they know what kind of person they want in the position of trainer and tutor. And if that person isn't doing the job, they would be the first ones to know it. So I'm reluctant to put the nose of the OVA in between the fitness club membership and the trainer by asserting monetary control, because with that will come other things. And that is evaluations. Are we getting our money's worth? You know, we'll have to have these things at board meetings. My point is that the groups within Oakmont, by and large, do a great job at managing themselves. So the question here to me is money. And how do we get money to the fitness club, or how does the fitness club get money to push that forward without putting, you know, the OVA's nose under the tent in their business?
Anybody else? Alan?
I look at these as two separate issues. The health initiative, which is Tom and Teresa's program, and the gym, which is an institution or dominated by being run by the fitness center club, which is institutionalized and has been doing this for some time. I don't see any problem whatsoever in supplementing the funds for a gym trainer from OVA funds, and let the fitness center club, the gym club, oversee and run that whole thing. The health initiative and having a major aerobics program in Oakmont, I think is important and a great idea, and it's obviously working out because of the attendance. But I think that also needs to be institutionalized with a board of directors and a club that can keep on going. And I would be very favorably disposed towards supplementing that income or that expense with OBA funds if a structure was set up, an organization was set up that would be basically an institution in Oakland.
I would ask the question, what authority do we have to pay money over to an independent club under our bylaws and under our articles of incorporation? We are mandated to provide facilities, recreational, athletic, and club facilities for our members and clubs. But I don't see how this is providing facilities per se. I mean, and if we are going to be providing facilities, shouldn't we be in charge of it? I view John's position as a trainer as beneficial to Oakmont Village Association from the point of view of protecting us from liability. That is, there should be somebody there, on occasion at least, who knows those machines, know how they operate, knows if they're malfunctioning, and there should be someone there on occasion where someone comes in and says, well, I want to use that machine, but I really don't know how to use it. Could you show me? Or they come in and they say, well, here I am to exercise, but I know nothing about these machines. Could you at least show me, how each of them works? And for the sole purpose of protecting us against liability. I think that's very important. I don't know of any gym that operates, I call it gym, any gym that operates without some trainer being present at some time to oversee the operation. Now, from that point of view, I see there's a need. We provide the facility with machines. We need someone there to protect the machines and make sure they're working properly, and also we need someone there to protect our members from using the machines in a way that's wrong. But I'm a little worried about just giving the fitness club the money and saying, really, we're not participating in this. You've done a great job. You take care of all this. I don't think that we're going to escape our responsibility that way. Yeah, Bob?
I want to point out two facts, and if they're not facts, please correct me. I think the fitness club, at the last board meeting, the representatives of the fitness club, and maybe in writing also, asserted that if all users of the fitness club were members of the fitness club, that there would be not an economic issue right now. I think that's a fact. Okay. The next fact is that at $20 a year, that's the current membership, right? At $20 annually. That's less than 39 cents a week if all users, for users of the fitness club, to be club members. To steal, Frank, and one of your old words that you used a lot in the past, maybe that is small change, that is de minimis. Who wouldn't want to pay 39 cents? And I know there's an argument, so that's a fact. I'll stop there, the rest probably opinion. But who wouldn't want to pay 39 cents to have John or somebody of his caliber there and available? It doesn't make sense. You could even, and I say this as an opinion too, and I'm off that foundation board, but I mentioned last month that there are educational and charitable things that John does for the membership here that could be used as a reason to seek grants from the community foundation. That's what the foundation does. It looks for educational opportunities and charitable opportunities to fund. I don't know if they'd approve it, but I think they'd strongly consider it. They're not a year-to-year reliable source of funds, but they have the ability to get grants. And donations, if it was acceptable to the foundation, could be made by non-members and members and get a tax deduction for that large $20 fee. Given that, I'm just one person speaking, it just doesn't rise to the level, because it is such a small amount, rise to the level of needing board action, other than to say, let's make it so that if you want to use the fitness center, join the club. And that's the way it could be going forward. And that's kind of like the way I would see it, like going forward. That is, if you're going to use it, be a club member, because there's a valuable resource there for nothing. Nothing.
I'd like to offer an idea to be an alternative, and I think I brought this up before. First of all, I'm not really in favor of taking over administration of anything other than what we already have. The Woodrums are doing a terrific job. Mr. Duncan and his group are doing a terrific job. We're just looking at how to cover the costs here. I would recommend that the OVA set up an agreement, a memorandum of understanding, perhaps, that we would match contributions. So I think, oftentimes when we look at KQED, Channel 9, or whatever it is, they do the same kind of thing where they have matching. And people are often thinking, gee, if I put $1 and someone else puts in $1, that's $2. It only cost me $1. It really encourages them to participate. And if we used the 50-50, just as an example, it wouldn't have to be that. You'd double your income, and at the same time, you'd encourage more people to pay for their own participation. I think that would work out really well. Another possible way to do that would be for the OVA to make a grant to the Oakmont, your organization, Bob. Yeah, well, okay. And so that they could take care of making that contribution, and it decouples it a little bit from the Oakmont administration. But I'd recommend that we take a serious look at a matching program.
Andy, did you have it?
I just wanted to make a comment.
Oh, go ahead, Elvin.
I just have a comment about being a member of the fitness club. I think a lot of people, or users actually of the gym, probably take the position that they're already paying in their monthly dues for the use of that gym, and wouldn't necessarily be amenable to also joining the fitness club at the same time. That's all I have to say about that. I think that would be a little difficult to ask people who are users of the gym, you now need to go ahead and become a member of that fitness club. I think there would be a lot of opposition to that, actually.
Is it okay if I just make a real quick comment?
Sure, go ahead.
To answer Bob's question is, who would not be prepared to pay $39 a week or a day, whatever it is? It's half of the people that use the gym. Their fitness club is about 50% of the people that use the gym. So that's a quick answer to your question. And for the reason that you just mentioned, is we're already paying dues, why should we pay extra money?
Yes, unfortunately, there's a sort of psychology of entitlement already built into the usage of the gym. And as has been pointed out, as Alka's pointed out, 50% of the users feel that they're already paying for the gym. And so we work quite hard to elicit the 50% members that we do have.
Yeah, Ollie.
May I have the floor? I have a question as to whether physically it would be possible to restrict the keys that we use to get into the gym to only members of, people who have paid for membership in the gym. So I hear it, yes. So we could make membership mandatory for people using the gym, and I would be in favor of that. But I've always been a member.
Harriet?
Will you then charge the lap swimmers to use the pool? Like, where is this gonna end? You're gonna start with the gym? And then maybe if you use the library, you might have to pay a little bit? And the card room, for God's sake, and the art room?
Okay, Harriet raises a good issue, which is, I was going to raise that issue too, but
Real sticky.
does anyone want to address that issue?
Yes.
Could I speak to that?
I'd like, yes.
John?
I have a little trouble with hearing them. When you don't use a microphone, I think I got what you're saying. Could you reiterate before I make a fool of myself?
What I'm asking is if people have to pay to use the gym, will the lap swimmers have to start paying to use the East Rec pool? Will the water rover people have to start paying to use West Rec? Will people have to pay to use the card room? Where will this end?
Well, I agree with you. I'm going to make a statement right now for myself, okay? I think that's a very slippery slope, that when you have to ask people to pay an additional fee to use the facilities that belong to the Oakmont Village Association. You're paying that as a member. And I think it's a responsibility for the OVA to provide the facility. It's not necessarily up to us to provide the things that might go with it, like training or this or that or a special program. I'm absolutely against 100% the idea of paying to use the facility.
Thank you.
Is the floor open for discussion?
Let me get Andy first and I'll get you. Andy?
I think Harriet brings up a good point, but I look at it from the other side of the picture of the coin as well. If we do pay, if OVA pays for a trainer or a staff person or a contractor to manage one of our programs, then why don't we stop? Why do we stop there? Then in essence, we should also be looking at every other opportunity as well. So it's the other side. I don't agree with charging a usage fee for any of our facilities. I believe as everybody here is a member, and that's what we are, is a club of members using all of our facilities. If there is a service provided to people within that facility that's additional to the plant that we're providing and the equipment we're providing, I believe the folks that are using that service should be responsible for the payment. Or we flip everything over and say, Oakmont takes over everything. OVA takes over everything, all classes, all instructors, all everything, including, which we don't have yet, bridge, instruction, other things. I mean, it would include every type of activity here. To me, I mean, it's a tricky balance. A group, an organization that uses services that they go outside for, in my opinion, needs to be sustainable. If they're not sustainable, then somebody else needs to come in and take care of it, or it needs to go away, basically. They have to work within their means, in my opinion.
Sir, you had a comment?
I'll stand so you can hear more clearly. I'd like to add information to the board to help them make a decision. My mother lived in Rossford for 22 years, and her dues were $657 a month. They had a full-time fitness trainer. They did at no time were they ever asked to join a club or pay any dues. I own a second home, I just sold it actually, for 8 years down in Sun City, Palm Desert. They had two full-time fitness trainers in the gym, paid for by the association. Our dues there were only $280 a month. Now the reason Rossmore and Sun City have such high dues is they have a full-time guard, it's a gated community. Number two, they had to take care of the streets, which are very expensive, the city does that. And number three, the golf courses were included and their fees were extremely low. It would cost the members, and money is always an issue, I understand that clearly. But at $14,000 a year, we have approximately, I say, 4,000 plus members, we're going to charge people $3 a year for the ability to use the gym and maybe add $1 or $2 for another club or two. I agree totally with Harriet. Maybe I was a hiker, what do you have to do, pay to go hiking, use the swimming pool, on top of which it's an enormous bookkeeping task to do all of that. So I think that funding a fitness trainer is an integral part of belonging to Oakmont. When you conclude, when people come in here and you show them around, you show them the swimming pool, and you show them the fitness center, and all the other amenities that we have, and you say this is paid for by your dues. And I think clearly Harriet is right, that you're really on a slippery slope when you start charging individual membership for individual activities within the club. Thank you.
I think Harriet brought up a good point, and Dave, I think you reinforced it very well. And Mike, to some degree also, I mean, you were talking about something else at that time. How to say this? We could say when the swim club at the West or at the Central wants a new trainer or the price goes up, that shouldn't be included in the club's dues or anything like that. We could go to hiking even. They could say, you know, we want to do the Pacific Trail and we need a guide and we're going to do it and it's great for us, it's great exercise, it's good for us. We could go to the tennis club where if they wanted a tennis instructor, they had to pay it out of their dues. The OVA would be extremely reluctant to get involved in teaching people how to play tennis or Pacific Trail or the myriad exercise organizations that use the pools. My point on talking about having a mandatory membership for the fitness club is that it's a peculiar activity. There's a tremendous amount of facility and equipment expenditure there, and the fitness club from the beginning wanted a trainer there and did not ask the OVA to pay for that trainer. Things change, that's fine. But as I said at the beginning, the change is that we don't have enough money. And how to get that money and how to have the fitness club run the fitness center just as the tennis club is tasked with running the tennis courts and reporting to the board when the nets need replacing, when there are cracks appearing, when it needs repainting or resurfacing. They put up the windscreens themselves. This is just a wonderful example of people who are interested in something, taking hold of that and having control over it. And the fitness club will lose some control if they take OVA funding.
Yes?
I wonder if I understand why the board has difficulty in paying for a service, but what if the trainer's job was regarded more as maintaining the facility and the equipment? Would that allow a better, easier justification?
Yes, it would, in this sense. This is really helping me think this out, by the way, having this conversation with all these ideas. And I originally said I was concerned about, do we have the authority to actually, you know, pay money over to a club to hire a fitness trainer. In our bylaws, or actually in our protective restrictions, but that's an extension of our bylaws, there is a provision, which has been quoted many times, saying that we have the implied powers to do anything necessary for the safety, health, and welfare of our members. But that implied power, again, is in reference to the specific powers of providing facilities. And that gets back to my original point, is that, in my idea, the important thing about having a fitness trainer there in that fitness room is to assist people to know how to use those machines and also to maintain those machines and make sure they're safe. So in that respect, the the implied powers of looking after the safety of our members relates directly to the facilities that we're providing, which is the room and the equipment. So I think we have a justification to pay for this fitness trainer. Now, I still have a question though, in my mind, whether it should be that we give the money to the fitness club and they hire him as an independent contractor, or whether he should actually be our employee. Each of you have received documents that Cassie has provided, and we have to be very careful about when we pay money for somebody, how we're classifying them, and whether we're giving them directions on what to do. It's much easier for a person to be an employee than an independent contractor. So I think we still have the problem of whether we want to, if we do decide to give or to provide the money, whether this person should be an employee or whether they should be an independent contractor working in some way underneath the fitness club. Or can we have the fitness club involved in a peripheral manner and have John as an employee still instead of an independent contractor? So that's where my thoughts are going right now. It's not requiring that people pay a fee to use it, but we provide the service and pay for it. Alan?
A couple of things I was thinking of during this discussion is OVA pays for pool monitors now to supervise the central pool when the minors are there. So there's that precedence. There's also user fees that are charged in classes like the mandatorily charged in classes like the yoga classes, and I think the water aerobics, if you're going to participate in those and participate in the gym, shouldn't you pay like the yoga people pay to have a teacher? I know some of them are voluntary. And then the other thing I was thinking is I think the lawn bowling club requires people to be members of the lawn bowling club in order to use the lawn bowling facilities because of the danger to damage the facilities.
Elke?
The yoga classes and so on, as I understand it, when you join them, actually the fees go to the instructor basically. And that's it, you know, I mean, they charge you, they instruct you and you pay them a fee, which is their income basically, that's what you do. And I've taken one of the yoga classes once, so I know for the $5 per session or something, and you could get X number of sessions, and then the instructor got paid, and it was basically their income. Another comment I like to make about, you know, if you're talking employee or independent contractor, just to clarify that, I think in this instance, we could make this actually work that the trainer would be an independent contractor, because I've reviewed some of it has to do with the rules with the Internal Revenue Service, basically. And it's actually in this document, it states a detail. For instance, if in general, if an individual is subject to the control of another, but not with respect to the means and method, he can be considered an independent contractor, which would apply in this case. And so it also has to do what services are being performed, and if there is someone basically telling you how to perform the services, which we would in this case of course not do, because the instructor himself would decide what services to perform and how to perform them, and you know, and that kind of thing. And there are other issues of that nature. For me, I would feel confident that we could go ahead and have an independent contractor if we crafted a contract and basically on an annual basis. You know, so it's not an indefinite contract, but you know, it would be renewable every year, as I see it here.
Before calling on this gentleman, I have one comment. If we classifying John as an independent contractor, it'll be important for the fitness club to understand that they cannot instruct John on what to do. As an independent contractor, he does his thing. As soon as somebody starts telling him, well, we think you should be doing this, or we'd like you to do that, then you get into the area they become an employee. So that creates a problem. You had your hand up first there.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'd just like to touch on a point where we're discussing who runs what. And as a fitness club board, we don't run the gym. We make suggestions and we make requests to you folks, mostly through Cassie, right? Cassie, myself, and Richard have had a lot of conversations. For instance, when the hours were changed, we went to Cassie and just mentioned that there were fitness club users requesting that. It went to the board and you approved it. Anytime that equipment is purchased, we point that out, usually again through Cassie. She goes to the finance committee, they vote on it, your board votes on it. So we don't run it. You guys still run it, and we're more than willing to keep doing that. We have a great relationship, and I don't see any reason to change it if we can keep going the way we're doing it. And I want to thank you for working with us to do that.
Yeah. Can you tell me specifically, what is your the fitness club's relationship with John? How does that work? I mean, does John just come in and do his thing?
He does, but he listens to us, if we make recommendations, and vice versa. We have a good relationship with John, we have a good relationship with the board, we have a really good relationship with our maintenance person, Eric Anderson from Fitness Fixers. And we listen to people, we have the forms in the gym there, and if there's a piece of equipment that needs attention, they write down the number of the equipment and what's wrong with it. If we think that it's serious enough, we can call Eric, and he's quick to come down. He will skip his monthly audit for the equipment. He comes down once a month, checks the equipment. But if there's something that needs to be doing quickly, he will come down and do it. Hans Ulrich and myself, as members of the board, we also address some minor issues with equipment. If we think we're capable of doing it, we'll purchase the equipment, we'll give the invoice to Cassie, and we get reimbursed for it. Hans he worked for Pan American, working on jet engines. I did the same at United Airlines. Doesn't make us experts on fitness equipment, but we do have a pretty good idea of how things work. And we like to continue that relationship. We know when we're out of our depth, okay? And we'll get the maintenance guy that we all pay for to come down and do it.
Mike, while you're standing, can I ask you a question, if you don't mind? And this is a question, it's not to make a point or anything like that. Does the fitness club have, if there was no issue with gaining new membership on a voluntary basis, if you had sufficient membership in the club that would take care of this, are there administrative things the club has to do with regard to that money and compensating John or his successor? Does that cause issues for you administratively or from a work standpoint? And I'm just trying to get at your preference.
Well, it's just a lack of funds. I mean, again, I think we have a really good relationship. It's just the fact that we thought John was worth a very small increase, and in years past, we just about managed it. We used to run some picnics in the summertime, but we would have to pay for that out of the dues that we get from users. We stopped doing that. The only thing we do now is a Christmas event, and we pretty much cover that from ticket sales. So other than that, the money that we get goes to John, and because of the increase and because of the slight decrease in membership, we were unable to meet our.
So there's nothing onerous right now in what you're doing. It's just like a funds.
If there were funds, we'd be happy to continue the way we are. Thank you.
Yes, Richard.
I'd just like to ask the board to look at it from a different perspective. At the moment, we're considering what we can do with John in his position as trainer in the gym. Let's turn it around and say, what would we do if we didn't have John in the gym with providing supervision?
Yes.
I just want to refer you to all the things that John does and his job description. And it could be anybody that's doing the part-time job. But when you enter Oakmont, you are given the facility, the gym. He orients new residents about the gym and how to use the proper equipment. And he does notify the equipment disorders. But he also, there are a whole group of guidelines for that gym. And he ensures that all the gym users, whether they're members or not, are applying and looking at those guidelines and checking and making sure that everything's safe. And we are also, right now, utilizing his services with video so that people that visit the gym will understand their equipment. You can look at those videos at home and you can look at them at the gym. That's new. But he is constantly working with people to understand how to use the equipment, keep them safe, and orient new people, and then work with them when they have had an injury. So somebody that's having hip replacement, somebody that's OSTP. He's working on those levels too with caregivers of people that have to exercise. It isn't just monitoring the equipment. It's keeping people safe all the time, whether what condition they are in physically.
Thank you. We're not able to make, to vote today because this is not a regular board meeting, this is a workshop. So we're going to have to vote on this at the next board session. I think at this point, I don't know what the consensus is, but I'll tell you what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that we probably want to go over and we want to take over the responsibility of paying the 14,000 approximate dollars for John's salary. I don't know at this stage whether he should be an employee or an independent contractor, but I think between now and the next board meeting, we can consult with necessary authorities to best figure out which is the best way to go under the circumstances, because there are legal implications depending on which way we go. This still will allow the fitness center, whether he's an independent contractor or whether he's an employee, to basically continue with their functions, which have been quite laudable and contribute a lot to the fitness center. That's the way I'm viewing it right now. I get, but then we'll basically have to vote on it come, the next board meeting in terms of whether we want to charge members fees to pay for him, or whether we want to basically pay for him through OVA funds. I think that's what's boiling down to at this point. Alan?
Just for the public, the legal issue of whether he's an employee or an independent contractor is significant because there could be tax consequences against OVA if we classify him as an independent contractor, but the IRS decides that he's an employee. So we have to be careful with that issue.
Bob?
I think what you said, Frank, was good. I would add to it, though, that because documents allow things to happen, it's also our responsibility to manage things correctly and for the whole of the community. And I think there's just more nuance to this whole question than just saying, I find in the bylaws and or the articles the capacity for the board to do this. That's all.
Thank you. Okay, any further discussion in reference to the fitness center directly? If not, I'll go on to the next issue, which is the health initiative. Okay, indicated, well, I kind of outlined what I thought the issues were, but is there anything you want to add before the board starts discussing it, or is there something I missed? I would mention one thing, in terms of, I know that John, on occasion as a volunteer, has gone over to the health initiative and acted as a spotter to help prevent injuries to people who might be in the wrong position when they're doing aerobics. So, and he has done that as a volunteer, not even as an independent contractor or as a part of his duties with the fitness center. Is that correct? Correct. Okay. All right. So let's open it for discussion in terms of Tom and the Woodrums. I should be more formal. The Woodrums request for $6,000 to fund the health initiative.
One little thing is.
Yes, that's Teresa.
We do have a board of Kathy Hardy, Jose Valencia, and,
Your voice is soft. You want to grab Cassie's microphone? No.
What she was saying is that we do have a board in place. Teresa and I are on the board, also Jose Valencia and Leslie Brockman and Kathy Hardy. So we have a board, we have a federal ID number. We also have, it's not a contract, but an arrangement with the YMCA. So they provide the instructors, and there's no issue about being an employee, the instructor, because she is an employee of the YMCA, and therefore all the liability insurance and the payroll taxes, all those things are already covered. So what we do basically is pay the Y a fee, and then the Y provides instructors.
Okay, thank you, Tom. Okay, I can start out here with my thoughts. My biggest concern, first of all, I've already indicated, I think what you're doing is wonderful, and my wife participates in it, and she has a ball. But I'm not going one way or the other because my wife does that. In fact, we've had some arguments on this already. So, but here's my concern: if we did this for your club, what do we do about all the other clubs? Okay, and I just went through the website, looking at the various clubs that charge a fee. Okay, it's similar to your type of operation. There are, I think, about 7. Okay, not including yours. We've got the aerobics class, $6 per class. They have special deals. They have like $40 for 8 classes. But each person, when they do this aerobics class in the late afternoon, will pay their $6. Okay. You got the balance and strength. They $6 per class. You've got balance and stretch, $10 per class. Cardio and strength, $7 per class. General yoga is listed, but I don't see them in the papers. I'm not sure they're still working.
It's a one item.
Okay. Pilates, $10 per class. Qigong, $10 to $15 per class. Water fitness fee, $5 per person, and then yoga holistic, $75 for 8 classes. So the first thing that occurred to me is if we pick up your tab for $6,000, are they going to be coming to us and saying, well, why don't you pay for our instructors too? And that creates a problem. Okay.
I think the difference is, so I did participate for a while in that gentle yoga class. The fee, maybe they pay a small user's fee for the facility, these groups, but I mean they do, if they don't, however, those monies go to the instructors. We don't get any of that money. It's their private thing to hold these classes, and they are reimbursed for that by charging whatever they're charging. So that is it's different than this situation is altogether, it seems to me.
Different than what? Are you saying that the fitness initiative or the Tom and Teresa's club is different from the other clubs? Or I didn't quite understand.
Well, you don't receive any money, right? I mean, you receive no money from any of that, right? But I mean, the other instructors, that is the fee, they keep that. They don't pay us. We don't get that money.
Tom?
One other thing I'd like to say is that there's an issue of scope as well. You're talking 6 to 8 people in these classes, and we've got literally, we had over 12,000 people for 2 years we've done our classes, so it doesn't necessarily mitigate the issue, but the scope is so many more Oaklanders are participating in our classes. You know, we average about 150 every single week, and I think it gives a good opportunity. You know, you talked about the applied health and in bylaws, and to me, there's a real implication of good health for a lot of people in Oakland with this class.
Yes, Bob?
This is what your point, it makes it so difficult. One, because I don't know anybody who doesn't like being around Tom and Teresa. I am personally involved in having a hard time being objective. The efforts they've gone through to keep this free to anyone in Oakmont are tremendous. Raising, well, fundraisers at Berger of all sorts of things, and they're very welcoming. And Tom is a damn fine politician. He should get a job there too, you'd win. And it just makes it so much more difficult to slice and dice and nuance all these things for the board, because Frank's absolutely right. What next? Do I say, take the position, gee, the fitness club should have a fundraiser, that would take care of it. We'll just, how many groups do we have in Oakmont now that have fundraisers or use the Burger Center for their dinners, their dances and everything? I mean, there's there's just oodles of it, and if we just look at the exercise and the things you've done, you gotta be tired of doing it by now. I mean, you gotta. What, 3 years?
It's been 2 years.
2 years.
This has been there every single class.
Yeah, but for us, we have to sit there and say, well, what about this and what about that and what about this other club and this and that? And can there be successors to what you two do? You have a board. Can you find successors to carry on this level of energy you two have put into it? It's probably difficult, but there are people who do these things. I've been working on the Burger Committee with Heidi Klein for 6 or 8 months. I'm just amazed at her level of energy and what she can get done and what she knows. It's just a lot of fun being around her. And I'm saying to myself, can that happen with OHI? Can they have a successor that can jump in here for a year or two and do it? Am I missing something? I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. No, not at all. I thought you wanted to say something. But that's the thorny wool sack we sit upon. Is, you know, what to do about this, and do you have, maybe I'll just make it a question, do you have successors available? Do you know of any?
I don't really want to give it up. I like it. But all we're doing now is subcontracting with the YMCA. We're spent this whole year making this job easier. I continue spinning plates in the air, making videos, and y'all helped so much because we were able to get instructors with the Community Foundation funds. It made the whole difference in this program. It's getting real instructors up on the stage. So for me now, it's just raising money. It's basically what I do. And that is getting to be a very competitive market.
If you can get the bird.
Yeah, well, that, and then, you know, I think it's great the OVA's been doing fundraiser events, but it's just more competition for each club to try to raise money. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Tom. Richard.
I have a question for the woodrooms and the board. Is there any way perhaps we could kill 2 birds with 1 stone and involve John in instructing with the initiative, the health initiative?
We have some, we using the YMCA instructors.
We've kind of made commitments to these.
Oh, you have commitments to YMCA?
Yeah, the one lady didn't take another job so she could keep doing our classes. I feel like an obligation to her, certainly.
Richard, I thought we were going to think of the same thing. You came from a different angle about maybe 2 birds, 1 stone, or maybe a dozen birds, 1 stone. Is it possible that the OVA can sponsor a fundraising event for activities that need assistance, purely voluntary? Could an idea like that? Or is it impractical? I mean, we can help fund the fitness club, help fund OHI, worthy events that need, you know, more than $25 or $30. They need a lot of dollars.
Can I imply a bit about what's going on? The people that come in for water aerobics and for the woodman's class and for many others are independent people, drive into Oakmont, stay here 1 hour, take their cash and drive away. The fitness center is not like that. John is there 5 or 6 hours a day. He looks after the equipment. We have 70,000 visits a year. I keep repeating. Every year, 70,000 people use that gym. It's open from 5 a.m. till 9 p.m. It's a totally different animal. We're comparing apples and bananas, not oranges. What we're talking about is independent people who come in, get paid to give instruction, people willingly do it, and that's a different animal than the fitness center, which sits there from about 5 to 9 to 70,000 visits a day.
Dave, I wasn't suggesting they were equal or the same. I was just saying that the commonality is lack of funds and how to get those funds. That's what my suggestion was.
But the difference in funding is that the people who see an instructor in the aerobics and so on pay their money. The instructor takes the cash and drives off.
But they don't pay. The OHI doesn't pay. It's free.
Nobody going out of Oakmont.
No, nobody pays.
Yeah, I understand.
What if we did something like, if you think that OVA and their events are competing with you, what if we do different types of events as opposed to the same kind of events that you do? We could stick with, you know, not have, like we had the singer last Friday, Neil Diamond. We could not do those anymore.
Well, may I speak?
Yeah?
Speak up loudly.
That type of event is a good community builder. I mean, usually there's the same 200 people that show up at all events, and I would love to see the other jillions and jillions of people that don't go out of their living rooms come out to these events, and they sell out so quickly that it's just so many reasons not to go out. I'd really like to see Marcia's kind of events be that kind of community builder. She gets huge crowds and people get to meet each other and become a community.
Yeah, that's why I like it too, because our tickets are so low because we're not looking to make any money. In fact, we mostly lose money on these propositions because it is for OVA people. So I know, me too.
I hate to sound trite, but we've spent a lot of time discussing all kinds of answers and ways to solve the problem, but I've never heard a definition of what the problem is. What are we trying to accomplish and why? Could you go over that? I'm frustrated with that. I think we're making progress towards something, but I don't know what the something is.
It's been our intention since we first started the class that we would get great participation if we kept the classes free of charge. We still have to have an instructor in there, okay? So if we want to continue to keep it free, continue to get 150 Oaklanders a week in there, we need a source of funds. And the Community Foundation started this, and we've run some fundraisers. And between the amount of effort to do a fundraiser and the competition, you know, Boomers, Shaboom, and OVA, and you got everybody does pickleball, does parties, so they should. But it's just tougher and tougher for us to compete in the market. There's only X amount of days and burgers available, only X amount of events that you could realistically do in a year.
Tom, I understand your desire to make this free to everybody, okay? But have you actually asked the people that come whether they'd be willing to pay, you know, $5 or whatever it's necessary to pay for the instructors? I mean,
No, we haven't asked that.
because you know, your classes are so well attended and everyone loves them so much. It might be that they're willing to do it.
And probably they would. We just want to try to keep it free because people come all the time because they're free. And new people come in all the time and try, and you know, we just think that's a great, I think it's a great opportunity for Oakmont to be forward-looking and help the overall health of the community.
Harriet?
Same thing I said last time. If you offer this and this and this class free, water aerobics better come under the umbrella of OHI, and so better lap swimming, and Pilates, and kickboxing. How can you pick those three?
Maybe you could do it by the amount of people, because water aerobics, kickbox, any of those don't have anywhere near the amount of people that attend.
So what?
I don't know,
I mean,
I'm just thinking.
I'm curious. If you'll pay for me to go to that class, and I gotta pay to go to this class, I don't care how many go to that. I mean, I'm just being silly, but I don't care how many go to that class. I'm paying for this.
I think you
Going to
were,
that for free.
I think you were next.
Yeah, I know, I think this class is wonderful and very popular, and I would bet if you asked people to voluntarily give what they feel they can give rather than a set amount, that you probably would collect enough to pay your instructors.
Bridget?
I'm also going to say that the number we are hearing, there's a fitness center, how many people are in there, it's not correct. Because you have so many people going through there, going to the pool. You wouldn't believe it how many people are coming in. That fitness center is in the morning busy. You go after 12 o'clock, it's hardly anybody there. And believe me, I'm there quite often. So I think if people, I myself go in and out several times for water or whatever. So that is not quite correct either. You cannot do that. Okay, saying, oh, we have 70,000 and whatever. It's not true. They have to, how many people are really working out there.
Thank you.
My name
woman.
is Denise. I'm Community Sales and Marketing Director for Oakmont Gardens. And I came here because I'm just curious about the health initiative in the aerobics class I heard about from someone else. And as a private sector marketer, sometimes, you know, we look at working smart and getting cut into the chase of how can we just get it done. So it occurs to me rather than, this is just an idea. And please don't misconstrue what I'm saying, because I couldn't come up, I can't make a commitment without involving other people.
Yeah.
But, you know, what about just looking at the private sector for contributions that you could get much larger amounts, much faster, rather than having to go through, I mean, the fundraisers are wonderful and people benefit from the social opportunity. But there may be private sector businesses that could get some exposure in Oakmont that they would like. And I know the board can't go there with private sector for profit people, but you know, there might be businesses that would be willing to sponsor that may have a vested interest in having their name be present. I don't know if that's a really unpopular suggestion, but there may be physical therapists or hospitals or other community-based programs that would have an interest in helping you do what you're doing.
Thank you. Anybody else on the board here? John?
I'd like to bring up another point. It may not be too popular, but, you know, when an outside group comes in and you pay them a salary or a fee to do what they do, and they use our facilities free, that really is something that the OVA is giving to the group, because otherwise they'd have to pay for that if they went someplace else. So in that respect, we're already supporting you. And I think people need to keep, you know, maybe they take it for granted, but it's still, I think, still basically true.
Bob?
It's the last time I'll say something here today. I've talked too much, but I want to say one thing that's untypical of me, and that is it's a pleasure, and thank you all for contributing to this discussion, because the board hasn't figured this out, and we have to think more about it, discuss more about it, get more input, and it's just lovely to be in the same room with many people here, because I know how many hours of volunteerism collective there is here, and it's tremendous. And here we are as a community trying to figure out this little puzzle we got ourselves into. And for me, that's very encouraging. And I doubt that we're going to come out to a bad situation. We're going to come out to a good situation, and it's going to be a lovely tasting sausage, but it's a grinder to get it through. So thank you very much.
Okay, is there any further discussion on this? Andy?
I just have a question for Tom and Teresa. I just want to get the numbers. You said there are 150 people a week approximately that are in the class, 50 weeks a year about?
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, again, we can't make any decisions here today because this is a workshop, but I'd like to thank everyone for coming and contributing to this discussion. I've learned a lot, so I really appreciate it. If there's no further discussion about anything, then I'm going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you.